Before it became a cult icon, it was just a stripped-down Chevy that almost killed a cameraman. The 1955 Chevy from Two-Lane Blacktop wasn't born to shine, it was born to survive. A flat gray ghost roaring through the American wasteland, carrying nothing but noise, gasoline, and existential silence. This car didn't come from a designer's sketchbook, it came from obsession. Built by racers, driven by musicians, and resurrected by filmmakers, it became one of cinema's most haunting machines. The driver's Chevy was never meant to be beautiful, it was meant to be real. But why did the filmmakers choose the most bare-bones model Chevy ever built? Why did they construct 3 identical cars, only to destroy one that never even made it on screen? How did this same machine reappear years later under Harrison Ford's hands in American Graffiti? Some say it's just a movie car, others call it a spiritual relic of America's lost highways. Today we reopen its secret file, the 20 weirdest, most mind-blowing facts about the driver's 1955 Chevy that Hollywood tried to bury. Let's step inside the primer gray legend and find out what it was really made of. Number 20, the budget sleeper choice. Every car movie wants a showpiece. Two-Lane Blacktop wanted the opposite. Director Monte Hellman rejected the flashy Bel Airs and chrome-covered 210s. Instead, he chose the humblest version ever made, the Chevrolet 150, a fleet car designed for postal workers and plumbers. No chrome, no luxury, just raw steel and rubber. Why? Because in the underground world of street racing, the cheap cars were the fastest, lighter, meaner, and easier to strip down. The 150 weighed 150 pounds less than a Bel Air, a difference that could decide a drag race. Hellman didn't want glamour, he wanted truth. He wanted the Chevy to look like it had crawled out of a mechanic's nightmare, a machine that didn't care how it looked, only how it moved. The result? A car that became a symbol of rebellion against the polished myths of Hollywood. A hero that refused to shine. Number 19, the triple threat build. Universal Pictures didn't build one car, they built 3. Each served a different purpose. The hero car for close-ups, the interior car for in-cabin shots, and the stunt car for chaos. The hero car was perfectly tuned, carrying the film's soul. The interior car was gutted, stuffed with cameras bolted to the frame. The stunt car, a monster built to die, reinforced roll cage, double handbrakes, and a frame welded for destruction. The crew switched between them constantly. Sometimes 2 different cars appeared in the same scene without the audience ever noticing. It was an early example of movie car cloning, a practice that would later become standard in Hollywood, but Two-Lane Blacktop did it first, and it did it with style. Number 18, the Phantom Crash scene. The stunt car was born for one glorious moment that never happened. The script originally ended with a violent crash, the driver losing control, rolling the Chevy into a storm of steel and fire. The stunt team spent weeks preparing, locking brakes, rigging hydraulic triggers, even padding the roof. Then, at the last moment, Monte Hellman changed his mind. He decided destruction would betray the film's message. The Chevy wasn't supposed to end, it was supposed to fade into eternity. The stunt driver was furious. The car, overbuilt and overprepared, sat unused, and thus the most expensive car in the movie was the one that never appeared on screen, a machine built to die, that ended up outliving them all. Number 17, the color cover-up. Here's the paradox. Every Two-Lane Blacktop Chevy started life painted baby blue. Soft, innocent, absolutely wrong for a car that screamed nihilism. So the studio took spray guns and buried the color under thick coats of primer gray. They didn't even sand it properly. Under harsh light, you can still see veins of blue bleeding through around the door frames and hood. But there was meaning in that roughness. Hellman said the gray wasn't just a look, it was a philosophy. Primer made the car look unfinished, like a creature in constant evolution. It wasn't beautiful, it wasn't done, it was becoming. That raw, half-painted body became the film's visual identity. Not polished, not proud, just real. Number 16, the fiberglass deception. You think the Chevy was all steel? Think again. The hood, trunk lid, and both doors were fiberglass, a racer's trick to shed 200 pounds. It made the car faster but unpredictable. Panels flexed, gaps appeared, and under heat they even changed shape. The sound crew had to fake the door slam in post-production because fiberglass didn't make that satisfying clunk. During high-speed runs, the hood corners lifted from air pressure, forcing the crew to add extra pins mid-filming. Actor James Taylor said the car felt fragile fragile, like it might shatter at any moment. That fragility became part of its character, half metal, half ghost. The perfect metaphor for a story about speed, mortality, and things that can't last. Number 15, the plexiglass trap. The car looked authentic from the outside, but its windows hid a deadly secret. Instead of glass, the crew used custom-cut plexiglass sheets mounted on aircraft-style sliders. Real glass was too heavy, and the regulators took up valuable space needed for cameras. At first, it seemed brilliant, until the problem started. Plexiglass scratched easily, warped under heat, and built up massive static electricity. Crew members got shocked whenever they touched the door. During one test, sparks jumped between the door and the camera rig, but the worst discovery came later. Plexiglass doesn't shatter safely. In a real crash, it could trap the driver inside. That revelation terrified the stunt team. If the deleted crash scene had been filmed, the driver might not have survived. It was the perfect metaphor for the film itself, a story about freedom built inside a fragile cage. Number 14, the big block surprise. To the untrained eye, it looked like an ordinary small block Chevy engine, but under the hood was a monster, a 468 cubic inch stroker V8 built from a 427 L88 block. Two Holley carburetors sat on a tunnel ram intake like twin volcanoes, and the camshaft was so aggressive the engine refused to idle below 1,200 RPM. On the dyno, it made nearly 700 horsepower, unheard of for 1971. Every take pushed it to the limit. The vibrations twisted the frame so violently that welds cracked mid-production. Crew members had to reinforce the chassis between scenes. James Taylor said it best. It didn't sound like an engine. It sounded alive. That engine wasn't just power. It was character, rage, and soul in motion. Number 13, the stunt car's secret weapon. Ironically, the car built to crash was the fastest of them all. While the hero car screamed with its 468 stroker, the stunt car hid a genuine L88 427, a racing engine straight from Corvette's holy vault. Rated at 430 horsepower but capable of over 550, it came with aluminum heads and compression so high it required aviation fuel. But here's the strange twist. They paired it with an automatic transmission. Why? Consistency. The stunt coordinator needed predictable launches for camera work, and manual shifting was too risky. With a turbo 400 gearbox and a 4,500 RPM stall converter, the stunt car out-accelerated even purpose-built drag racers. The sacrificial car turned out to be the most powerful thing on set. Sometimes the one you build to die becomes the one that defines you. Number 12, the Oldsmobile connection. Look under the rear end and you'll find something unexpected. Not Chevy, but Oldsmobile. The production used a heavy-duty Olds 12-bolt rear axle with 4.8.1 gears because it was stronger than anything Chevrolet offered. To the casual viewer, it looked the same, but to racers, that detail was sacred knowledge. The Olds axle could handle over 500 horsepower launches without snapping. Still, it came at a price, limited top speed, and a brutal driving experience. The tight differential chirped the tires even in parking lots. After long takes, the differential oil overheated, forcing the crew to cool it with external pumps. That compromise, sacrificing comfort for control, defined Two-Lane Blacktop itself. Number 11, the stripped interior truth. Step inside the driver's Chevy, and you're stepping into a coffin made of metal. Everything unnecessary was gone. No radio, no heater, no carpet, no headliner, just bare steel and the scream of the engine bouncing off it. The dashboard was replaced with a flat aluminum panel holding Stewart Warner gauges. The factory seats were swapped for 12-pound racing buckets that rattled your bones. The steering wheel, barely 13 inches wide, made the car twitchy at 90 mph. It wasn't built for comfort. It was built for honesty. Every vibration, every sound, every smell of gasoline reminded you that this was real, and maybe that's why the car felt alive. It wasn't pretending to be a car, it was being one. Number 10, the tire gamble. Those massive slicks on the back of the Chevy weren't just for looks, they were outlawed on the streets. The crew fitted genuine M&H Racemaster drag slicks, 10 inches wide, no tread, pure soft rubber. They gripped like glue on hot pavement, but turned deadly when wet. Before each scene, technicians heated them with smoky burnouts to get proper traction. When the weather changed, they had to load the car onto a trailer because one drop of rain could spin it sideways at 15 miles per hour. The front tires, by contrast, were razor-thin Firestones, barely wider than a motorcycle's. That gave the car its famous nose-down stance, but also made it terrifying in corners. It wasn't movie magic, it was mechanical insanity. The Chevy's tires weren't built for acting, they were built for war. Number 9. The hidden cameras. In the 1970s, car-mounted cameras were crude, heavy, and dangerous, so the builders did something radical. They welded camera mounts directly into the frame, 6 of them, 2 on the fenders, 2 near the rear quarters, 1 through the firewall, and another under the trunk. Each mount held a 40-pound Aeroflex camera. Some shots were so close to the tires that burning rubber splattered the lens. Others filmed through holes cut into the body. When the car later appeared in American Graffiti, these scars were still there. Holes covered with black tape to hide their past life. Every mark told a story. This wasn't just a prop, it was a film camera on wheels, built to bleed for its art. Number 8. The driveshaft disaster. One of the most terrifying days in Universal's history started with a simple acceleration shot. As the Chevy hit 5,500 RPM, the front universal joint of the driveshaft failed. The spinning metal pole slammed against the pavement, pole vaulting the car and exploding through the floor. Inside sat a cameraman. The shaft missed him by inches, slicing through the seat and spraying hot gear oil everywhere. James Taylor behind the wheel thought the car had exploded. The set went silent. Production halted for 2 days while mechanics rebuilt the drivetrain with stronger parts. A steel loop was added around the new driveshaft for safety. The footage of the incident was destroyed immediately, but rumors spread. Some say that day, Two-Lane Blacktop stopped being a movie and became a legend. Number 7. The Universal Shuffle. After filming Wrapped, all 3 Chevys were sent to Universal's storage lot, where their second lives began. Sound engineers discovered that the roar of the 468 stroker was perfect for other movies. They recorded hours of revs, idles, and burnouts. You can still hear the same sound in Smokey and The Bandit and other Universal productions throughout the 1970s. Meanwhile, the cars themselves became rental props. They were repainted black, red, even blue for TV shows. The stunt car sat untouched, its powerful L88 engine forgotten under layers of dust. Then came 1973. A young director named George Lucas needed 2 55 Chevys for a film called American Graffiti. Universal had them. The ghosts of Two-Lane Blacktop were about to be reborn. Number 6. The American Graffiti Connection. In American Graffiti, the world met the same car, but it didn't know it. The hero car from Two-Lane Blacktop became Bob Falfa's black Chevy, driven by a young Harrison Ford. Chrome trim was added, the body painted glossy black, but the sliding plexiglass windows gave it away. The hood never opened on screen, because the monster engine underneath didn't fit the movie's 1962 setting. The stunt car, meanwhile, appeared briefly in the background, now painted dark green. Ford later admitted the car terrified him. "Too much power," he said. "It wanted to kill me." The irony was perfect. A car built for existential loneliness became a symbol of nostalgic youth. 2 films, 2 worlds, 1 machine, and yet the same heartbeat echoed through both. Number 5. The Quarter-Mile Truth. Forget movie magic. This Chevy was genuinely fast. During production, the crew brought the hero car to Orange County International Raceway for test runs. With its 468 stroker, 4.88 gears, and slicks, it clocked 12.4 seconds at 118 mph, a time that rivaled real drag racers of the era. The stunt car with its automatic L88 setup was even quicker, 12.2 seconds at 121 mph. They never pushed harder. Overheating was a constant threat. The cars were cooled between takes using electric fans and portable water pumps. These weren't props pretending to race. They were race cars pretending to act. Every roar you hear in the movie wasn't faked. It was earned. Number 4. The VIN Mystery. For decades, no one could prove which surviving car was the true Two-Lane Blacktop hero. Collectors argued, counterfeiters thrived, and 3 different Chevys claimed authenticity. Then in 2008, builder Richard Ruth came forward with original documentation showing that VIN VC55 4016 matched the real hero car. But the revelation came with a twist, that VIN originally belonged to a Chevy built in Oakland, not Los Angeles, and Universal had swapped VIN tags between cars for insurance purposes. So the car that exists today wears parts from all 3 originals: hero, stunt, and interior. A perfect irony for a film obsessed with identity and illusion. The Chevy itself became what the movie was about, a soul that no longer knew which body it lived in. Number 3. The fiberglass shell game. The Two-Lane Blacktop crew treated body panels like poker chips. Hoods, doors, and trunk lids were swapped daily depending on condition. One morning, a steel door. By lunch, fiberglass. By night, replaced again. Continuity went out the window. Watch closely, and the hood scoop subtly changes shape between scenes. That's not a trick of light, it's a completely different hood. Even in storage, Universal's staff mixed up panels between rentals. When restoration experts examined the surviving car, they found a Frankenstein creation, a hero car wearing stunt car doors and an untraceable hood. Piece by piece, its identity blurred, until the only thing left constant was the legend itself. Number 2. The Barrett-Jackson Vindication. When the authenticated hero car hit the Barrett-Jackson auction block in 2015, expectations were modest, $50,000, maybe $80,000. Then the bidding erupted. Fans of Two-Lane Blacktop clashed with collectors around the world. The price soared past $100,000, then $130,000, before the hammer fell at $159,500. The winning bidder, a tech executive, said the film had changed his philosophy in college. He wasn't buying a car, he was buying a piece of cinematic soul. That sale proves something Hollywood rarely admits. Sometimes art hides in the smell of burnt rubber and the echo of second gear. Number 1. The engine that wouldn't die. After Universal sold the car in 1976, its legendary 468 stroker engine began a second life. It powered a drag boat to championships, then a Camaro road racer, then a farm irrigation pump in Nebraska. Each owner modified it, abused it, and somehow it refused to die. In 2010, a collector traced it back using casting numbers and hidden stampings from Richard Ruth himself. It was rebuilt to original specs and now rests in a climate-controlled display. Still scarred, still alive. That same engine has lived longer than its movie, its creators, and most of its drivers. Somewhere in the quiet hum of its idol, you can still hear the spirit of Two-Lane Blacktop, restless, relentless, forever chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. Before we reach the final truth, if you love stories where engines roar louder than words, don't forget to hit subscribe, because legends like this don't come around often, and the next one might just be your favorite car from childhood. Now, the last secret of the Two-Lane Blacktop Chevy isn't about horsepower, or metal, or money. It's about survival. That same 468 stroker engine, born in a Hollywood workshop, raced on real asphalt, scarred by decades of abuse, still breathes today. It outlived its movie. It outlived its creators. It even outlived the idea of what a movie car is supposed to be. Somewhere inside that block of forged aluminum and cast iron, there's a heartbeat that refuses to fade. Because this car was never about winning races. It was about running, about movement, obsession, and the endless road that never truly ends. Monte Hellman once said the car was a metaphor for the human condition, a machine built to chase meaning in a world that offers none. And maybe that's why the driver's Chevy still captivates us half a century later. It isn't just a car, it's a mirror, a restless, roaring reflection of everyone who ever wanted to escape, but couldn't stop looking back. The road goes on, the engine still runs, and the legend never dies.